It's crazy, but it's back to school, and there's no better time than this to get your family on a family operating system, because there's so much stuff coming in. All the schedules are being reset. And so, in working with like literally thousands of families across the country, so many different situations, what I've found are some best practices that work, that make just a simple system work. And it comes down to three different things. But first, I get a lot of questions about like, why do I even need a system? That feels really intense. And what I would say is this, which is like the single biggest way that modern parenthood, like in the last 15 years, is different, is how it impacts our calendar and how we have to manage information. So the modern digital age means that there's a lot more information, like instant information hitting us. There's a lot more apps to manage, emails to manage, instead of a sheet of paper coming in for a field trip that you read everything and then just sign it and then send it back. There's all of these different forms, there's all of these different reminders. I don't need to tell you this. So there's also endless choice. So on any given thing, there's like a ton of different choice. And we also have like a lot of more outsourcing options. So that just means a lot more needs to be coordinated and managed in a given week, from logistics and meals to other work kind of being done, and also being shared between partners. And all of that just means you need some kind of basic process that you're not kind of like going in and out of every single week and trying to figure out how to make it work. So the three things that every good system needs is, one, a central place where all of that information is held that is not one person's brain or inbox. And so that can be just a really simple family calendar and a place that you can have shared lists. There's also just like a bare number of lists that people need: to-do list, a grocery list, a shopping list, and maybe like a to-discuss list that accumulates topics that you and your partner need to talk about. So that's number one. The second thing is a process that to get all of that information in and out of that one central place. So for in, it is either you are going to process it immediately or you're going to batch it to be able to do it, but just something that you don't have to consider every single time you get hit with one more thing. And then on the other side, how does that information get out to all of the different people? Ideally, it's something simpler than having to go in every time to kind of reference it. Ideally, it's something like a daily rundown. Milo does this over just like simple SMSs, and that's like the most revolutionary thing for people. And then the last thing is like a process. But one thing that the most surprising thing that I've learned is it isn't like it is like a schedule component, but instead, if you make it into a ritual, if you start thinking about carving out time and protecting time to actually do the work of our family, so maybe like an hour a week, I think is the minimum. You could break it up into 30 minutes like midweek to work on some of the to-dos, and then 30 minutes over the weekend to both like preview the week ahead and kind of discuss anything. But if you make that into a ritual every week, that you just know that this is the time that we're kind of doing these things, it makes it a lot easier. And we're not just shoving all of the really important work into the nooks and crannies in between other things. We're actually giving it boundaries and priorities. And we're setting up expectations of how we're going to actually do this between our partners and other caregivers. Again, the point of all of this is that if you take it and do it and set all of this up at one time, then it prevents it from being this friction every single week and these misunderstandings. And you go from the implied into the explicit, and there's just so much more freedom there. And then you can actually reconsider, like you see how it works for a month or two, and then check in and make any adjustments. But these are the really basic components. The next kind of session will focus on which kind of system and which kind of tools is right for any given family situation. But for right now, this is a really great time to just start setting something up. And Milo is obviously built on these best practices. So if that's something you want help with, we would love for you to give that a try too.